Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I have another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on to better explain what's going on and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Here we go.
I'm Assistant Chief Wyatt Martin of the Houston Police Department. This critical incident briefing is intended to provide you with information about an officer-involved shooting that occurred in Houston on February 18, 2023. You're about to see video footage that is related to this incident. HPD conducts thorough investigations into officer-involved shootings. These typically require investigators to interview multiple witnesses, view numerous hours of video footage, and analyze a significant amount of forensic evidence. It is important to note that we are in the very early stages of the investigation, and we continue to review additional evidence as it is collected and analyzed. The videos you're about to see can be graphic and may be difficult to watch. These videos may also contain strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. At approximately 9 a.m., Houston police officers were dispatched to a welfare check where Mr. Cuong Tran Lee was reported to be in crisis. Officers arrived on the scene, communicated with family members, and attempted to communicate with Mr. Lee. As officers attempted to detain Mr. Lee, he produced a knife and stabbed two of the officers. One officer then discharged his firearm, striking the suspect. HFD arrived and pronounced Mr. Lee deceased at the scene. Officer Nguyen and Echo were transported to the hospital where they were treated and released.
How you doing?
Now this is something that I wish they would have provided the 911 call for to kind of get an idea of what this crisis is. Is it just someone who is throwing a hissy fit, acting out, fucking throwing things? Is it someone who is expressing suicidal ideations? I don't know, because they don't provide the information. I think that information is important to know because it helps you to better understand the situation. But let's see what's happening.
Because you say who hisses you?
I don't even.
Okay.
You live in the same house? Okay, yeah. Okay, so my brother is sick. He's
You say he's sick.
he's mental, so you guys can't leave him here. There's no possible way. We've been trying to get him out of the house, trying to help him, but he's not gonna leave.
What kind of mental
He
issue?
can't see me talk to him either because he's gonna hold a grudge against me. He's probably gonna. I don't know what he's gonna be capable of right now. It's just crazy.
Okay, who lives
Worse.
here?
The last couple of days have been kind of proceeding. Each day is kind of getting better and better. Today is getting bad where he's making my grandparents and my mom sit in the living room. He took their phones. I just kind of had to sneak out here because I saw you guys out here. So I don't know what you guys need to do, but you guys need to take him, get him into a psych ward, and we can handle the rest.
He taking any
kind? Have him stay here with my.
Can you listen? I'm asking you.
Oh yeah, fine.
He's taking any kind of medication right now?
I don't know anything right now, but currently I know that he's just not in his right mind. But I can't.
Does he work or no? Does he work? Does he work or no?
No, he hasn't been able to work because of he's kind of being like this.
So
It's happened before.
Does he diagnose with anything like a mental retard?
He's been in the psych ward before, so it's not the first time. So
Is he on medication?
No.
Who is living here?
My mom, grandma, grandpa, my whole family, they say.
Okay. What his name? What his name on
We don't have any workers, but right now, but there is stuff in the house. I don't want him to grab any weapons.
Do you live here with him too or no?
Yes.
Okay. What his name?
His name's John.
John Lee, right? Okay. Let's go talk to him real quick. See what we're dealing with.
He's gonna hold a grudge against me.
Okay. So you the one who called the police, right?
That's why we called you guys.
You might want to stay there and wait for us.
I'm gonna be in here.
Hello? Hi, it's Houston Police.
John,
That's John?
can you come out talk to me, John?
You can talk right here.
Okay, can I see you? And when I see who you are, I want to make sure that you have nothing. Do you have any weapon on you?
I have nothing.
Okay. What's going on, John?
Nothing.
Oh, do you want to go to hospital? Is there anybody inside the house beside you?
My family.
Your family, can I talk to your mom? Is your mom home?
Yes.
Okay. Just leave the door open. Let me talk to your mom. Anh là đánh mình sao?
Jon.
J-O-N ơi.
John.
Là tên tiếng Mỹ à?
Tiếng Mỹ.
Là L-E à? Có họ không? Có middle name không?
John Cường Lê.
Birthday ngày nhiêu?
Coi chừng cái móng cửa tụi nó làm gì bà ngoại á nha. Móng cửa là chết rồi.
Hey, tell him open the door. Don't let him close the door. Birthday là ngày nhiêu?
Nó sinh ngày... Đã thấy chưa? Đã thấy lóc cửa là chết luôn á.
Ok. Đi ra kêu nó mở cửa đi.
Nó lóc cửa là nó làm mình sợ lắm.
Để em ơi đó.
What the fuck? That shit annoys me. I fucking hate this shit. This is one of the dumbest fucking things that any state could do. Oh, we're gonna pause the video and can't show you inside a person's home. Fucking bullshit. So let's back up to what we got so far. So the brother comes out, meets the police outside. He's afraid of being seen by his brother talking to the police. That's kind of normal. Sometimes people call the police because a family member is acting kind of stupid. They can't control that person, but they believe that the police are going to be able to control them for them. So basically, what's going on there is that is violence by proxy. That's what that is. When you cannot use your words, and it's not that a person is a failure at being able to use words. There's just some people who just cannot be talked to. Like, there's no talking to them. Like, they're a fucking brick wall. But when you have exhausted your means of talking and trying to resolve the situation by voice only, how else will you encourage a person to do something that they do not want to do? Use physical force or the threat thereof. So when people call the police, they are in situations like this, they are in essence calling someone who can use physical force, who can threaten that possibility of physical force being used. Physical force being violence. That's what it is. So I call this violence by proxy. This brother can't talk any sense into this dude, and it's no fault to the brother, right? I mean, the guy could be mentally unstable to the point where there is no rationalizing with him. But the brother don't want to get physical with the guy. Understandable. I could kind of see that. Like, why would you want to, ruin the family, things like that, and, potentially beat your brother up? I kind of get that. And so families will call the police. That way the police can be the bad guys, right? So I kind of have a problem with what's going on already and how this stuff plays out. Because what happens sometimes is this exact thing plays out. The family don't want to be seen as the bad guy. The family don't want to go hands-on with someone. The family don't want to take a hard approach. They want to ride the fence, not be the bad person. We'll call the police. We'll make the police the bad guys on this. They'll be the ones who force him to do something since we can't physically do it. And then when those people end up doing crazy fucking shit like pulling knives and guns out on the police, and the police have to react like they would and use deadly physical force to protect themselves, and the family wants to go all fucking ape shit and talk about how the police failed to do this, You didn't de-escalate properly, blah, 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 blah. Well, you all knew this dude his entire fucking life. You couldn't get him the help that he needed? I call bullshit. So this dude's probably late teens, early 20s maybe. Mom and dad, no idea how old they are. Grandma, no idea how old they are. The brother could be same age, maybe this guy, late teens, early 20s. I forget, I think he says his age, but I can't remember. So however long that dude's been alive, the parents and the grandparent have definitely had the opportunities to do something to help this guy. To make those hard decisions and do what needs to be done. Now, I don't know if they're complaining about the police shooting him or not, but in other cases that are similar to this, that's what ends up happening. The family throws a hissy fit, talking about how the police didn't do anything correctly, blah, 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 making it out like the police are the bad guys. The police are not, they're not your scapegoat. All right? This practice of using the police as a scapegoat is bullshit and it needs to stop. The bad people in these kind of scenarios, not all of them, but a lot of them, are the family members themselves, the enablers, the ones who don't do what needs to be done to deal with their batshit crazy family members or their drug addicted family members.
Let's go talk to him, bro. Okay.
That's why we called you guys.
So I'm not a big fan of jackets like this. So this is like a 2-in-1 kind of jacket. It's got the you see the high reflective stuff in it. So it's like you could either the vest is built into this, or it's one of those you can turn it inside out and use it as a traffic vest kind of deal. You see the zipper right here that zips up. That way you can have the gun sticking out. It can be easily accessible. So that is an old school design, right? Like that's a cop jacket that's been in use for the longest time, and I'm just not the biggest fan of it, especially not with how better clothing items there are out now. If you want to stay warm, you can have a better option to stay warm than a jacket like this that is going to impede your ability to get items off of your duty belt. And as you can see right now, it looks like he's going to have some difficulty getting some stuff off his belt because his jacket is covering portions of his belt and going to cause some hindrance in getting some items out, namely the gun right there. Earlier, you did see him take some big, thick object out of that front pocket right there, and he transitioned it into somewhere else. So it looked like he was thinking about the fact that he had this object in that pocket, and it was weighting down the jacket in a way that it was continuously covering the gun. So it looked like he had some kind of forethought there to move that object out of that pocket into somewhere else to change the weight and how that front fabric of that jacket moves across the front of the gun right there, or around the gun right there.
Hello? Hi, is this the police?
John,
That's John?
can you come out talk to me, John?
You have nothing? You have any weapon on you?
I have nothing.
Okay.
What's going on, John?
Nothing.
Do you want to go to hospital?
So one thing that could be done to prevent people from closing the door on you, aside from sticking your foot in the door, there are door jamb products that you can get, and there's one that's kind of like a rubber material. It's sort of like a miniature horseshoe looking kind of shape, U-shaped. And it's meant so that when you open the door, you can take that thing and it fits on the door itself and around the handle area of the door. So you open the door around the handle area, you slide that thing on the door frame so it's on each side of the door, like each side of the door has a handle. And when you go to close the door, because this big thing is stuck to the door won't close all the way. So how this door opens inwards, there's going to be a hinge right here in the middle. Something like that, you could just slip in that opening right there and put it on that hinge, and they won't be able to close the door all the way because that's going to be an obstruction right there and they won't get it to close. You could also get these little metal hooks from like a hardware store or something like that. Think of like a ratchet strap. You know, like you take a ratchet strap, you put it across some stuff on a trailer or in the back of a truck to tie things down. The hook that's on the end of those that you hook into the mounting space on the truck. Forgot my words. Or you can attach it around to the bedding of the trailer. A little S-shaped hook like that. You can find hooks like that at a hardware store, and you could get those for pretty cheap. And same thing, you just slip it in that opening right there and put it on that middle hinge, and when they go to try to close that door real quick, it's going to not be able to the door is not going to be able to close all the way because that object is there preventing it, and it's just going to be smashing it into the door frame itself. So that's something that that could be done if you think you're going to be coming up on a person who's probably going to try and close the door on you, or end up closing the door and try and lock it. Now, of course, they could see you doing that, and they could try to reach out and try to mess with it and get it out of the way. But at that point, in this kind of scenario, they get permission from the mom to go inside the house. They can just, if they start to mess with that thing at that point, just push the door open on them. Or altogether, just still push the door open on them and go on in and see what the hell's going on. He's halfway concealing himself behind the door anyway, and is not being normal. Like, he is being deceptive at this point. So I would have had no problem if they just went ahead and barged in the room itself. From the way the brother described things, it almost sounds like they're being held captive. He has moved them into the living room. He has taken their phones away from them, and he's not letting them leave, it sounds like. So that sounds like false imprisonment. So I would certainly say that they would be justified in just barging on in through that door and seeing what the hell's going on and making sure that those people are fine and they have not been injured in any way. But if they're not feeling froggy enough to go in, then as they're at this door, and to prevent the door from being shut, or if you just don't have enough to fully go in, I think that a device like that would be kind of useful to just pop it right there on that hinge, and then they'll try and close that door as quick as they can, but it's not going to close and lock all the way.
Is there anybody inside the house beside you?
My family.
Your family, can I talk to your mom? Is your mom home?
Yes.
Okay. Just leave the door open. Let me talk to your mom. Anh là đánh mình sao?
Jon.
Now, what are the odds that this person got dispatched to a call and it just happened to be someone else that speaks the same native language as they do? So I don't think that's coincidence. I think that this officer, or these officers, were specifically dispatched to this call due to the fact that there was a bit of a potential language barrier going on, and that they would be able to communicate more effectively with those people. And not just that, but they're from the same place. They come from the same tribe, so to speak, and so that could be a potential for building rapport right there. Someone that person who's having a crisis would be able to identify with. They may be able to identify more with a person who looks just like them, talks just like them.
Chào em ơi. Là tên tôi.
chết luôn á.
Ok. Đi ra kêu nó mở cửa đi.
Nó lóc cửa là nó ngay. Nhưng mà mình sợ lắm.
So at that point, I don't think that I would have allowed her to just step in like that. I would have taken the keys from her and then opened that door. That way you could remove her from any potential danger.
Nhưng mà mình sợ lắm.
Để em ơi đó. $19 G, 40 days, I got stabbed, shots fired. Hold on. Hold on. Here. I got a med kit right there. My backpack. The brown thing, Get it out. Yeah. Come out! Just bring out everything. Okay, sit down. Okay, I got it.
Is the suspect still there? Of course. Still there. Still breathing.
Just wait on that. Come on. Fuck!
Grease?
Yeah, no, he stabbed me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me apply pressure.
Man, God damn, that's boring. Let's go.
Okay, it's right here, right?
Yeah, that's
let me apply pressure.
That's your knife, right? Yeah. Sorry, that's my knife. Yeah. Yeah, my head's feeling now, but
Okay, you wanna?
See, apply pressure on your neck.
Lay down.
Apply pressure on your neck. You sit down in the car. Stay warm. Hey,
You wanna sit down?
sit down. I'll stand. I'm good. Keep your side out.
No, you need to.
SWAT 1603, the suspect is He's on location. I'm not sure he's in custody.
Where's the suspect at?
He's sitting inside. He's sitting on the floor.
You got shot too?
I shot him.
Okay. You want to sit down?
Sit down in the car.
1603, can you put me on the call?
Okay, go ahead. Let's sit down. Okay.
You sit. HFD.
Yeah, got HB.
You sit.
So, unfortunately,
That's more. Yeah. Fuck!
So unfortunately, because they have a stupid fucking law that prohibits them from releasing camera footage that was recorded in someone's house, we don't get to see the actual attack and shooting take place. So can't comment on anything about that. It's scenarios like this where I think there should be some exemptions within a law like that. I can understand a little bit about wanting to protect some privacy of people. They could have used a blur box and blurred out portions of the house that could remain private, but still leave that person unblurred, show the attack occurring and the response to that. That's feasible, but I guess, nobody wanted to do the extra work to actually do that. But under circumstances like this, where transparency, I think, is extremely important, laws like that should not hinder the release of body cam footage like this. Now, if it was any other kind of call where an officer was inside someone's home and there's some kind of complaint about what they did, they cuss towards someone or something, and they're just there doing some kind of report, or they're there for a domestic call. There's nothing that happens physically to anyone. Yeah, I could see the justification saying, all right, nothing major's happened that's needed for transparency reasons. It's all verbal. We can just release the audio portion of that while they're inside the house and still maintain some privacy for these people, and just black out the video portion. But for something like this, I think the public needs to be able to see what the hell went on. So it sounds like he's stabbed in the neck, and the other officer appeared to be holding his facial area, so he might have been stabbed in the face and or the neck as well. Neck wounds can be kind of tricky. They can be hard, a little bit more difficult to manage than other injuries across the body. You obviously can't put a fucking tourniquet around someone's neck. That's not going to work. You can't apply too much pressure to someone's neck, or you can start compressing the airway there and affect the airway. You can start compressing into the carotid, start diminishing some blood flow, etc. So, but you can still, if there's a hole there, you can start taking gauze and pushing some gauze into that, and take a bandage, and you can wrap around the neck, but you don't want to start full tightly wrapping around it, because again, you can start constricting the carotids in the neck, and or start compressing the airway there, and then they're going to have some more problems than what they already got. I like the fact that he has a med kit. He has it in the vehicle. It's right there, and he starts to get it out and starts to put stuff into play. I think he's a little unsure about fully what he's needing, because he appears to take out this pressure bandage first. We see some compressed gauze right there. That right there, I think, would have been the first thing to grab. Rip that thing open and start unraveling it, and start pressing it into the hole. Depending on how big that hole is or whatever, you start pressing it into that area, and once you think you got a pretty good sized wad right there on top of the hole, you can take the rest of this, have his buddy help, and start lightly wrapping it around the neck. That way you can hold that thing in place. And then hold 2 fingers over it, hold 4 fingers over it, whatever. Just hold fingers over that area to apply some moderate pressure to help stop that bleeding. If he's got the gauze that's impregnated with hemostatic agent, that's even better. That would help stop some of the bleeding. But other than that, I mean, you could take this pressure bandage and just use the big, gauze pad side of it to put over it, but you're not going to be able to wrap that elastic bandage very tightly around that person's neck, because you start compressing a little bit more than what you would want. So he opens that thing, it falls out, and he appears to discard it and keep on going. So I don't know if he's fully sure about what's inside this thing or not.
I agree. Yeah, no, he stabbed me. Yeah.
So having medical gear is important, but having the knowledge on how to use it is also important. Even if you don't know how to use medical gear, you should still have it, because someone else who is there may know how to use that stuff and can put it into play. So even if you don't have medical knowledge, you don't know how tourniquets work, you don't know how pressure bandages work or anything like that, you can still buy a kit like that and keep it in your vehicle, keep it at home. Someone may know how to use that stuff, but once you get that equipment, you should start seeking out the knowledge on how to utilize that stuff. You need to take a class that is geared towards what's known as TCCC, Tactical Combat Casualty Care. That is a good level of medical training. that will get you to the point to where you're able to treat injuries like this. See the people in the background, all they're doing is recording what's going on. I talked earlier in one video about people hanging around after shots have been fired. It's not a great idea to be hanging around after you've heard gunfire, especially if you got no reason to be there. You ain't got no skin in the game whatsoever. The potential exists for more gunfire to be had, and you could catch a stray round just standing there trying to record shit. If shots been fired, the best thing you can do, if you know exactly where the shots have been fired, let's say they know for sure shots have been fired at this house to this side over here, the best thing they can do is go as far into this side of the house as possible, have as much material between them and this house as possible, and hunker down on this side. That way, if more rounds get fired and rounds going through windows and stuff, they're going to be on this far side of the house, and all the walls and things in between are going to catch and or slow down any stray rounds coming through windows. Now, they do appear to have a brick exterior, so hopefully that's real brick and it's not fake brick, and that would be able to stop incoming rounds, but we still have the windows here, so if you can get further away from that gunfire, the better. Just hunker down there. If you got a basement, it's an even better place to go. If you're able to safely do so, leave the house completely and just go for a walk. Go for a sprint. Get away from that area, and don't come back until everything appears to be 100% in the clear. That's about it. Not much else to say. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.